Okay, everybody, we wanted to take this time out to talk about Ronald Reagan and a book that I'm reading that's associated to the history of the trickle-down effect of where we are today and where the Democrat Party took us starting in the Ronald Reagan era of communism, which reminding you that Ronald Reagan was an actor out of Hollywood, so he was very familiar with liberal doctrine. However, he was a Republican fighting communism. So what basically we're talking about right now is the school system. And I sent out the written form of what I documented off of the conversation that Michael and myself had last night when it comes to the information. So Bill Clinton was involved in that era of what Michael's speaking to with the educational system. And I talked to you about how he infiltrated the school system by adding in internet. And based on bad intentions, his intention behind the school system was to invite communism of OBE, outcome-based learning, and he wanted to use the internet to control the people. However, a Republican like Ronald Reagan would see adding internet into school systems would be an educational highway of information to create faster ways of learning. So that's the difference between the mentality of Bill Clinton and the mentality of Donald Trump and the mentality of Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan is on the side of Donald Trump, and so is Nixon, and so is George Bush, although they're not allowed to say it. It's dangerous because you're mentally ill. Liberals go to liberal schools where they train future politicians so they can become liberal leaders, which is what Chelsea Clinton, her parents sent her to a liberal private school that was really expensive, where she learned how to be liberal, which is why she's so nasty. So Chelsea Clinton and Hillary Clinton are true through and through liberals who are horrific people who are angry, bitter cat women. That's called the feminine movement, the feminist movement. That's how nasty this shit is. So most people are afraid of that shit. However, I ain't afraid of you. Not to mention they have the insider scoop on politics. And if anyone's worked in a field or position such as any job where you're nervous to do the job, and then the more you practice of it, the more it becomes like normal. That's what it's like in politics. So they're easily able to lie to your face, and they have no feeling about your reaction except for trying to get you to feel happy because they want that vote. That's the dirty game of politics. If money were the answer in education, we'd be rich in education. What does it take to have great education? Effort. You actually have to have an agenda, which would be an outline. Teachers, parents, the education itself, and control. You have to have control of your classroom. And you can look at this in the opposition: effort, agenda, teachers, parents, education itself, and control. It all is a trickle-down effect of trickling into all areas of existence within the home, within the media, within Hollywood, now within influence. So what we're seeing with these girls is how we don't have a strong educational system. They're morons. They have nothing to talk about but gossip. And they don't have an education from high school because none of them actually graduated from high school. And now we're watching the college. It's not necessarily the teachers. It's the actual students who don't want to do the work because they were always given a free pass of a grade to get them to the next level. Because they're that annoying. They just like, get them out of class because they're that horrific. Let them be somebody else's problem. Democracy, question mark. Never go against the grain unless it benefits a Clinton. So they believe in democracy, but only if the democracy is leaning in the democracy direction that they want it to lean in to abuse the American people so that the small group of 1.01% can win at the game of democracy. While you are depressed about going to your job, although you actually, when you were young, said you wanted that job, but because of the Clintons and the OBE, which is the outcome-based learning, that's the reason why you're all miserable, is because you're all relying on other people's validation versus your own gratitude existence of taking a look around and feeling the freedom that you actually contain, except for Obama tried to change that through Middle Eastern infiltration by selling out the country. Mona Van is your proof of that. Republicans tried school choice in 96, but Ted Kennedy blocked it because he's rich and he didn't want his kids going to school with your poor black kids. Yet you're Democrats. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't send just any kid to a rich private school. You'd send the elite kids, but there's also the risk that your child would beat Ted Kennedy's child because Ted Kennedy's child is spoiled and rotten. Your child has a existence of the rags to riches, which is what we really want when it comes to politicians, because they're relatable to the people. They actually care about the people. Ted Kennedy only cares about power. That's the Kennedys. Aside from Robert Kennedy, who is breaking free from the Kennedys. He's now red, which is not an easy feat when you're born into a legacy of destruction like the Kennedys. They got their business of what they call success off of illegal activities of bootlegging. Better schools for liberal elites, squalor, crime, and failure to public schools while they all chase the vote. Listen to that. Better schools for the liberal elite. While you, as the poor kids, live in squalor, crime, and failure in the public schools while they all chase the vote. Reminding you that education doesn't matter what school you go to. It's the population within the school, the effort, the agenda, the teachers, the parents, the education itself, and the ability to control the students in a way to bring ethics and morals into existence. Meaning I have a better education than the student where Chelsea Clinton went. Because I put in the effort, I had the agenda, I had teachers that were amazing, my parents supported me, and I had education itself, and I was under control with ethics, morals, and values and virtues. And I had character. Test scores versus actual education, which is all an advancement of Obama and Joe Biden to bring down the educational system, to hurt students while competing with things that don't matter, which is China's education. So, not well-rounded, recess, art, music, SATs, talk about the tests. They now no longer make school enjoyable. They all make it about themselves and how they're occurring to other countries. If you would actually add in some ease throughout classroom in school, test scores would increase and interest in classroom time would be where it should be, but you're so controlling versus control. Now we have no control. They have no control over those kids. And that's because of the government. That's because you all care about politics, but you don't actually care about politics. You care about blasting out and causing trauma and gossip and getting a viral piece of content. Then you want to be on the news. Then you don't want to listen to the kids. The kids don't want to listen to you. And that's literally our school system at this time. Currently at the era of Michael Reagan, drop in knowledge per year was increasing, and 1% vocabulary every year was decreasing. And where does that leave us in today's society? Where are we in today's society with education is there is no education. But that's because the students have no desire for education.